Hi, everybody. Welcome. Um, we're very happy to welcome you to a slightly different kind of presentation that Plant Powered Metro New York is doing tonight. Welcome to the Total Body Workout, a virtual fitness class for healthy aging and bone strength. And our presenter tonight is Angela Fischetti. So let me jump ahead here and introduce myself and Plant Powered Metro. My name is Wendy Sachs. I'm on the board of Plant Powered Metro New York, not-for-profit organization in the city, though we like to have a wide reach. And we're happy to bring you this informative session to help you embrace a health supportive lifestyle. I think I might be reading the wrong thing. No, this is correct. Sorry. Anyway, as a New York-based not-for-profit, Plant Powered Metro works to empower diverse neighborhoods and individuals and communities through plant-based nutrition education. And as I mentioned tonight, we are shifting gears to work on another pillar of lifestyle that can preserve and extend our health, which is movement. We're going to explore how strong bones are essential for supporting muscles and joints. And when bone density declines, we may experience pain or stiffness, making it harder to enjoy simple activities like walking, lifting, or climbing stairs. So if you want to stay ahead of this, you've come to the right place. Our presenter, Angela Fischetti, a physical fitness and yoga instructor, will help us understand how compound movements like squats, lunges, deadlifts, and rows can improve bone health and mobility. She's going to take us through 8 standing exercises with or without weights. And for those more seasoned at strength training, she'll offer additional tips. And it's perfectly fine to just watch, but we're hoping that you will move along with us tonight. So our plan is about 40 minutes to getting to know Angela and exercising, followed by a 10-minute Q&A. So feel free to put your questions and your comments in the comment section in the chat, and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation, and we'll try to answer as many as we can. So Brooklyn-born Angela Fischetti combines over 3 decades of experience in physical fitness, strength training, yoga instruction, and massage therapy, specializing in outreach to older adults. She began teaching seniors in her 30s at a time when she was managing her own healing journey. 3 decades later, Angela combines years of experience and research with a unique combination of empathy and encouragement for older adults seeking a healthier lifestyle. And I know she has a special mission with the whole food plant-based community as well. So welcome, Angela. We are so thrilled to have you here.
It is absolutely my pleasure to be here and to finally meet you. This is just great. Our paths kept crossing for several years, you know. So thank you. And thank you also to Plant Powered Metro New York. This is one after my own heart tonight, being, you know, a Brooklynite. I lived in Manhattan and moved down to South Florida about 22 years ago, something like that, 23 years ago. But I'm so excited to be here with you.
We're thrilled to have you, really.
Thank you so much. Now, I wanted to say something, Wendy. With the standing exercises, we will be doing most of them standing, but 2 of them are down on the ground, not on our backs. Okay, so I'm tying in planks, but how you can keep planks standing is you can do a plank at the wall. So I just want to make sure that people understand what we're going to be doing here and how they can alter the plank from the ground to standing up. So I'm going to go right into it. Is that okay with you, Wendy?
Go for it, 100%.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So here we are with healthy aging, bone strength, and how we're going to handle this evening is it is a total body workout. And like Wendy said, it's going to include compound movements and supersets. So what are compound movements? Well, Wendy gave us some examples, but basically it's when you're working multiple large muscles and multiple joints simultaneously. They absolutely benefit activities of daily living, ADLs, and Wendy mentioned some of them, in fact. Now, supersets is when we are working 2 different exercises back to back without any rest. Now, I'm going to move right into what the accessories that we'll be using here tonight. I call them accessories. You can call it equipment if you like, but we'll be using a sticky yoga mat, and we will also be using what is called a fit ball. Now, the fit ball you can also use a 9-inch Pilates ball, but I have to tell you, for the work we're going to do this evening, if you don't have a ball, you can feel free to use a styrofoam, because they're basically styrofoam, yoga block. Basically, what I'm looking for is to just use something here for form, to help you with your form and technique for those of you not yet ready to work out with weights. And so 6 out of the 8 exercises, kind of sort of, I think I have that count right, will be, or 5, something like that. We're going to we'll use the ball, but then we're also going to be doing some movements and exercises where there's no external resistance. That's what I mean about the ball. No weight, but it's excellent for form. And even just holding on to the yoga block can be a huge help. And then finally, I'll be using 3 pair of dumbbells. They're also called free weights. I'll be using 8-pounders, 18-pounders, and 25-pounders. Does that mean that's where you begin? Absolutely not. So I'm here to show you how you can begin truly as a newbie, folks. And the reason why we're doing this is to help those of you with chronic health concerns, those of you who are new to strength training or new to exercises. Now, with these accessories, we're going to go into the most chatty part of my whole presentation. It's the most important part, folks, because this is where I break down different chronic health concerns, and I will give you modifications, suggestions, etc. But first off, a general statement. If you have any chronic health concern at all, I invite you to observe the work first before participating. Look for what you can do. I'm pretty sure the way that I teach, there will be something here for you. However, if you're not sure, then I would invite you to, well, basically show the video to your medical healthcare practitioner who knows your body best to preview the video as well, and then help you make an informed decision, because this is about informed decision, folks. This is not about, well, my friend's uncle, brother's aunt, whatever suggested I do this or that. No, I want you to, and also because people with chronic health concerns have oftentimes been injured when they exercise, please don't let fear be the driving factor here. I would rather knowledge. So that's why I say, show it to a medical healthcare practitioner and get your advice as it pertains to you specifically. Now, specific to this workout, here's where we're going to break them all down now. So first off, the mat and the fit ball. Doesn't matter, by the way, what kind of mat. It could be a yoga mat. It could be an exercise mat. It could be a small ball like that fit ball. It could be, you see that big yellow one in the back? Even a weighted exercise ball. They're all made out of latex. So if you have a latex allergy, please look for non-latex or latex-free. They are out there. Now, if you have any knee flexion issues, that's with bending of the knees. We are going to do squats here. We are going to do lunges. We are going to do deadlifts. So I'm going to give you a safe option for those bent knees. Well, number one, what I will tell you is shorten your range of motion. Don't go as deep, but you can control it a little bit more by taking it to the wall. And I just want to show you here what's called a wall sit or a wall seat. So what I'm doing here is bringing my ankles slightly forward of the knees. Now, I'm traveling up, ankles, same line as the knees, traveling up, and then I come up here to the high hip bones, and these are called the iliac crest. So you want all of this in the same line, toes in the same line as each other. You get to control this. You can go as low or as high as you need to with your knee bend. You can slide up and down. Just don't bring the butt below the knee level, please, if you have knee issues. I wouldn't push it like that. Or you can do what I'm doing right now. Just hold it statically while I'm talking to you. But while I'm here, I'm also going to suggest to those of you with back spine issues, particularly flexion of the spine, you've been told not to bend down to pick up something, and especially something of weight. Come to the wall. This would apply to those of you with perhaps to some of you with osteoporosis of the spine, as well as the postural deviation called a hyperkyphosis, where you're kind of hunched, right? You folks can take it to the wall because you remain upright. You will not be taking the spine at all into flexion. However, a tip for those of you with hyperkyphosis: if you come to the wall, you're going to notice that your head doesn't touch, because typically there's a forward head posture going on. Today we call this tech neck. So for you folks, please take a towel, roll it up. I want you to place the towel behind your head, not your neck, behind your head. And I want you to press back into that towel. So this is already, we've covered several chronic health concerns just by taking it to the wall. Now, I'm just checking my notes here. Yes. So if you have carpal tunnel syndrome, I need you to avoid this wrist position, no matter where the arms are. Doesn't matter. All of this, I never change the position of the wrist. That is wrist extension. For you folks with carpal tunnel, please keep your wrists straight. Now, how are we going to do that? With a plank, right? Because when you come to the plank, to the floor, your wrists will be in extension. I've got you. I'm going to show you a way when we get down there what you can do, or you can also do it the same way, standing at the wall. Also, if you are medicated or not for hypertension, if you have vertigo or GERD, I need you to avoid this position of the cervical spine of the neck. Might seem silly, but no, that is a forward flexion of the cervical spine. So for you folks, please keep your chin, head neutral. Now, one word I want to pass on to all of you. If you are participating with me live, please do not put your device on the floor. A lot of times people are working out with me and I see the heads dropping down. I'm like, what's going on? And I realize it's the device. Please make sure your devices are up at eye level. I promise you, if you have arthritic neck issues and you're trying to work out with your head like this, you might very well get injured. Please avoid that type of injury just by lifting the device. It's not the problem. The problem isn't the exercise, it's the location of the device. Having said this, conversely, for those of you with TIA, transient ischemic attack, or a stroke, near the end, because there is a lot of flexion here with this type of work, flexion of the spine, I'm going to do a back extension, a back bend, all right? And I really love to get deep into them, and I'll drop my head back. There is nothing wrong with either flexion of the cervical spine of the neck nor hyperextension of the cervical spine of the neck. But with hyperextension of the neck for TIA stroke, for you folks, please just keep that chin and head neutral. Now, if you have vestibular challenges, this means challenges with your balance. Well, number one, I'm going to advise you to never work out by yourself. Always have a companion with you. But there's one particular, well, actually two exercises we'll be doing that are unilateral, one side at a time. So the first one is a lateral lunge where we're stepping out wide. Well, for you folks, why don't you choose one of the squats instead? And you can also use the wall sit/wall seat as an option. Then also for those of you who don't want to go out wide as well. Now, when I say this, I just want to remind that some people can, maybe some people have been released medically in order to do these positions, and go for it. But if you haven't been and you're not sure, err on the side of caution. So for this one, that lateral lunge, because it's a wide stance, it may not be the best thing for those of you with osteoporosis of the hip, or for those of you who have had a hip replacement. Keep it narrow and in control. Now, for those of you with golfers or tennis elbow, medial or lateral epicondylitis, I have to say you need to be careful with all bicep or tricep work. Has to do with the connections at the elbow joint. And I have to tell you something, these symptoms are quite unique to each individual. I can't offer you a modification. So I am going to advise you to seek further medical advice, to inquire if these two movements in particular, they are the two plank movements. Find out if these are appropriate for you or not. So I'm just double checking the notes again. And yeah, we went through about 16 different issues. Thank you for your patience with this. Now, a few gentle reminders. Whenever you're working out on your own, always feel free to stop and rest whenever you need to. However, I am not inviting you to quit, okay? So you stop, take a couple of breaths, return to the work, even if it's just for one more repetition, because this is how you will get stronger. Also, please keep yourselves properly hydrated with water. Please don't ask questions about flavored waters, bubbly water, coffees, teas. I don't know from any of that. I only know what I have read is everything is from Harvard Health, and they only talk about water. So going back to medical disclaimers, if you have been advised medically, particularly for those of you with kidney and bladder issues, not to drink a lot of water, please follow that advice. Now, we have something for you. I hope at this point that Grace could help out and put the links up for me. In particular, I want to encourage you folks to open up the rating of perceived exertion chart, the link to that chart. This is a Borg 0 through 10 subjective scale that I've been using my entire career has been with, well, my age group and above, 50 and above. I'm going to be 67. And I mean, I'm talking way beyond as well. And it's a wonderful tool to, thank you there. I appreciate that, Grace. It's a wonderful tool to use to gauge your sense of effort, especially for both strength training and your cardiovascular training. And it is advised for this particular platform to work out at an RPE between 3 and 6 on the chart. Also, it's a wonderful tool for those of you who may be on certain medications like beta blockers. Maybe you have a pacemaker, or maybe you just don't know how to take your exercise or training heart rate. And you could show it to your medical doctor and say, hey, what do you think about this approach for me to gauge my sense of effort? Always feel free to double check what I say to you here with your medical doctors or whomever it is that you go to advice for your medical background. Also, on my YouTube channel, the very first video, I hope, it just got redesigned recently, but it's there, is a warm up and cool down video. One video where you can interchange the movements. The reason why I designed it is because it's important for those of us who are 55 years and above to warm up for a full 10 minutes prior to any workout. Now, what are we going to do here today? Because this woman talks a lot. I know I do. So I'm so sorry, but it's real important information. So for healthy aging and bone strength, total body workout with compound movements and supersets. Basically, Wendy mentioned it. I will be teaching you 8 exercises. Now, I'm going to teach you this approach vertically. And it's going to be one set, and a set is a group of 8 to 15 repetitions for each exercise. This is where I'm tying in the fit ball. You can tie in your no weight yoga block or not use anything at all. If you opt not to use anything at all, that's fine. But please apply your own sense of inner resistance. Otherwise, you'll just be flailing around, and that's just excessive movement. I'm looking for purposeful, thoughtful movement. You need to think about what you're doing, folks, when you're working out, and particularly when you are strength training. Then after the vertical approach, we will move into 4 blocks of 2 exercises each. And this is where we will incorporate the supersets. So now we're going to begin here, and I'm going to teach you how to stand when you're strength training. So basically, it's what I taught you at the wall. It's an athletic ready stance. So now I'm going to teach you from the top down. I place my hands on the high hip bones, iliac crest, but I'm going to bring my hands to the inside. Now make sure your fingers point straight down, not in, straight down. And then you line up knees, ankles, toes are in the same line as each other. Now for the females in the house, I want to show you something. I'm going to stand to the side to show you this. A lot of times I see this, where females are standing, working out, and they start doing this, where they tip the pelvis forward. It's called an anterior pelvic tilt. No, what we want to do is actually the exact opposite, but we just want to do it gently. We come into a subtle posterior pelvic tilt, also known as a pelvic tuck, and we are drawing that belly button in. When you pull your belly button in, you are engaging your transverse abdominis muscle. It's like an internal girdle, internal corset, and it partially wraps around to your lower back. All you have to do is pull it in. You don't have to like suck in your gut type of image. It's just pull it in. So now we are in our athletic ready stance, our first block. We have basic squats with the bent over bilateral, meaning both sides at the same time, back row. So I'm going to begin here. Remember, knee issues, take it to the wall if you need. Back spine flexion, take it to the wall if you need. So I have my toes lifted inside the shoes. Why am I doing that? Because what's going to happen is when I come up from the squat, I drive up from the heels, thus engaging the entire posterior extensor chain of the body. That would be the back erectors, the gluteals, and the hamstring muscles. Additionally, and I want you to join with me now, by lifting the toes inside the shoes, I am actually training and showing some love to our oft forgotten shin muscles. This is excellent for balance as well as for the health of your knees. The breath is in and out through the nose, folks, kind of like with yoga. You want to pause at the peak of the contraction that's up here. So I'm going to do a few now on a diagonal. So watch this for the pause at the peak of the contraction right here. Pelvic tuck squeeze. It's not a big, gigantic hip thrust. Please don't let that happen. Inhale to lower. Exhale on the effort. That's on the rise. One more. Inhale. Exhale to come up. Now, I'm going to bring the ball in now and show you here the bent over bilateral back row. Giveaway, folks, bent over. What does that mean? It means a forward flexion of the spine. So for everybody's sake, for the moment, we're going to stay upright with just basically a back row standing upright. So once again, athletic ready stance. I bring the ball out in front. I'm puffing up my chest. Exhale, pull. Inhale, release. The emphasis is on the pull phase. So what happens here on the pull phase is that you are strength training the rhomboid muscles between your shoulder blades, also the posterior deltoid muscles, the back of your shoulders, as well as your biceps. I'm going to do a few more repetitions. I'll face you. Now, I'm not fully touching my chest because my microphone is right there. But I would like you to touch the chest if it's just the ball. Last one. So that's the first block. Second block, we have deadlifts with unilateral plank. So I want to show you something. The difference between a basic squat, which we just did, but I'm going to tie the ball in now, with a basic deadlift. So same thing, we're going to have the toes lifted inside the shoes. And you can keep the ball here if you want. I don't care where you hold it. Inhale, sit back into the chair. Exhale, pelvic tuck squeeze. So remember, it's about sitting back into a chair for a squat. Now I'm going to lower the ball for a basic deadlift. I'm not changing anything but the position of the arms. But now it's a hip hinge. Yes, knees bent. There's the pelvic tuck squeeze. Now, what if you say, hey, I don't have that kind of range of motion? What I care about for a deadlift is the hip hinge, soft knees, come up, pelvic tuck squeeze. Keep it as short or as big as you need, whatever works best for you. So I'm going to keep going here. The head stays up. Remember, those of you medicated or not for hypertension, have vertigo or GERD, keep the head up. I want you to be able to stand up from picking up something off the floor without issue. Hold here. Now, I'm going to set this down and I'm going to demonstrate the unilateral plank with, you're going to see it's not going to be a full out version. It's just the warm up. So I'm going to come down now. We need to show those of you with carpal tunnel what to do with your hands here, right? To keep those wrists straight. So take your hands, make a fist. Now, my fingernails are not cutting into my skin. Just gently close the fingers so your finger pads lightly graze your palms. Then I'm going to put the arms down like so. I want to make sure I'm fully on camera with straight wrists. Now, I will have both knees off the floor when we fully do this out. But right now, I'm just going to do one leg out behind. I'm going to push the ground away. And I'm simply holding here for 15 seconds on the warm up. The breath is in and out through the nose. Do not let the head dangle down, folks. Don't let it sag. I'm going to change sides for another 15 seconds. The other thing we don't want to do is we don't want to collapse into the shoulders, push them away. So you can do it also at the wall if you need to. It's all good. And then I'm going to slowly come up. I have a cat. No matter how much I vacuum, it's going to be all over me. Okay. Now we have, for the third block, we have Romanian deadlifts. I did not name it this, and it's been called this literally for 100 years, and a low plank. So I'm going to grab the ball here for the Romanian deadlift, showing you here the difference with that Romanian deadlift now is the feet are a bit wider than the hips versus a basic deadlift. But same concept, toes lifted, I hip hinge, exhale up. Now I want to show you something from the diagonal. I want to make sure you can see this. Avoid this. Avoid trying to bring your chest lower than the butt. Not a great idea, all right? You go, see that? Flat back, tabletop type position. But I am doing the pelvic tuck squeeze, pause. If you don't have a ball or a yoga block, make sure your fingertips stay in constant contact with your thighs down to your legs for the entire exercise of the Romanian deadlift or even the basic deadlift. 2 more, please. Inhale, exhale, pause, one more, and hold. Now, low plank. Now, this happens to be an excellent approach for those of you with carpal tunnel. But be careful, golfers and tennis elbow, folks, because this is going to be a lot of bicep work. So the first approach, I'm going to show you another approach when we do it full out. So the palms are flat. I lower the elbows. Now, normally I'm going to have both knees off the floor. But for the warm up, again, just 15 seconds on each side. And I am squeezing the thigh, breath in and out, fingers fanned out toward each other. For those of you who know yoga well, you want to fan out the thumbs toward each other, change sides, and extend, belly button up and in. So if it's hard for you on your neck, you take a yoga block, level 3, and put it underneath your forehead. And we're going to lower the knee down. And final block before we start with the weights. It's that lateral lunge. So remember the modifications we talked about, squats, etc., at the wall. Instead of this, nothing, not for vestibular challenges as well. So I'm going to step out and step back in. But I want to grab the ball. I want to bring the ball into it. Sorry about that. Let's bring it in. Here we go. Yes, because that's where the weight will be. So when I do this, I'm landing here into this side, the glute. So you see it as the left. It's my real right. So that's the one that's doing a lot of work here. When you come up, I need you to come up all the way vertical, please. One more. Inhale, exhale all the way up, hold. Then you take it to the other side. So what are we doing here? We're actually stepping out into hip abduction. It's going away from the midline of the body. But the return phase is hip adduction, going toward that midline. Inhale, exhale. Now, there are some people who do it like this. I'm going to see if I can do it, show you. They don't touch. See that? They don't touch. That's very nice when you don't have any weight, but when you have a 25-pounder in your hand, not so much. Last one. And close. Now, the final exercise, and I am going to tell those of you with golfers or tennis elbow, check this one too, because there's tricep work, though the elbows are straight. This is the straight arm pushback, also known as the straight arm press back. So what I'm going to do is show you 2 hand positions, your choice. So if I have the palms facing each other, well, this is called a narrow grip. But if I turn the palms toward the wall behind me, this is called a wide grip. Now, I'm going to show you first here the wide grip. So I'm going to go back and then small release. So when I bring the arms back, I'm just visualizing gliding the knuckles along the floor behind me. Pause here. See that? Notice I don't return here because I want your muscles to be working. I want them to be taut the entire time. So we're working the posterior deltoid muscles again, back of the shoulders. We're also again working those rhomboid muscles between those shoulder blades and the tricep muscles, which is why I need you to be careful with golfers or tennis elbow. So let's go for one more. Notice the position, by the way, of my head. I'm not doing this thinking I'm bringing them further back. It's not about that. It's about slow, controlled movements. All right. So are you ready to do the full workout? Now, if you're at the point where, hey, I still need to continue and I want to try to continue without the external resistance, you're invited to do that, all right? Because that's where you are at the moment in time. So I'm going to be using 25-pounders for my squats and 18-pounders for the bent over bilateral back row. And I don't talk much when I work now. So here we go. Athletic ready stance, toes lifted, arms plugged into your shoulder sockets. Inhale, sit back. Exhale up, pelvic tuck squeeze at the top. Now you're going to hear me breathe deeply. It's not a joke. It's the real deal, folks. Compound movements will elevate the heart rate. It will also increase your rate of breathlessness and affect how much you can speak or not. It's all normal. 2 more. Pause. So I'm going to carefully, lightly set these down. I have neighbors down below me and have to respect them. Okay, now the bent over bilateral back row. You know your upright position that you can use. So I'm going to stand a bit wider here. One more. Now, this is where we're going into the supersets, folks. So we go back to the squats. So I hope this is beginning to make sense for you. I'm giving you a few different angles. Are you breathing in and out through the nose? Pause at the peak right here of the contraction. One more. Okay, back to the bent over bilateral back row. You will sweat when you do this work. I do not have my AC on. Okay. Let's give you another angle here. I'm looking down and out in front of me. Down and out in front of me, not straight down to the floor. Woohoo. One more. Easy on the way down. Great. Now for the next block, I think we have deadlifts. Yes, with the unilateral plank. So for the deadlifts, also 25. Facing you each time on the first set, straight forward with this stuff. Okay, shoulders back and down. Remember the difference. Hip hinge, not sitting back into a chair. And a great way to look at your own alignment is to turn the camera on your device and watch yourself do the work. You can film yourself, play it back, stand in front of a mirror. One more. Carefully set it down, just talking to myself. Okay. Now we're going to take it to the floor, or you're going to the wall. For the unilateral plank, I'll be holding 30 seconds on each leg. Okay. Placing the ball of one foot on the back of the opposite heel or ankle, push the ground away. Careful of this. Avoid this, folks. No dropping down. Breath in and out through the nose. Eyes of the elbows facing out in front. The elbow crease. So you can imagine here for golfers or tennis elbow, it could potentially be an issue. So I just want you to check first. Fan out the fingers, squeeze the thighs, belly button engaged. Now I'm going to change sides here. And I want you to think energy going forward out your heart center, energy out the crown of your head, but energy is shooting back through your heels as well. So I borrow some stuff from yoga because of my training in yoga, and I do believe in thinking in terms of oppositional movement going on at all times in the work. And lower down and walk it back in. Take your time rolling up. Back to the deadlifts. And yeah, my glasses are starting to fall off from the sweat. Sorry. Okay, here we go. So you see, I'm just checking my spine, making sure I'm not going too low where it becomes a little bit more like a hyperextension then, particularly in that lumbar spine. So another reason why I'd like the head up is because the lumbar spine of the low back and the cervical spine of the neck both are in a natural lordotic curve. You don't want one in a kyphotic curve while the other is in a lordotic curve, because then they're going to have a little argument with each other. Inhale, exhale, hold here for the last one. And let's go back down for the unilateral plank. Let's show those of you with carpal tunnel that other hand position, okay? So soft fist. I have to keep standing this way because that's where my clock is. All right. So we're going to come up, ball of the one foot on the heel, or the heel or ankle of the opposite, pushing the ground away. I have little to no weight in the thumbs. You need to be very careful with the thumbs. A lot of people have arthritic thumbs, and it's the first carpo-metacarpal joint that's usually the issue. That's why I keep it very gentle, very light on my thumbs, but I am really pushing away here. I don't want to collapse anything down. A couple more seconds, and we're going to change sides. Here we go. And then I'm going to go back down here just to remind you what the hand position is. Are you breathing? And I'm going to walk the feet in, slowly roll up. Now, between the blocks like this, you can do a couple of shoulder rolls if you want, or a little bit of a gentle stretch. That's perfectly okay. Now, third block, the Romanian deadlifts with the low plank. So remember, with the Romanian deadlifts, we're going a bit wider with the feet, just a little bit wider than the hips, right? Toes up and hip hinge. Pelvic tuck squeeze at the top. Breath in and out through the nose. Pause at the peak of the contraction right here. I'm going to go for two more. So I have a winged scapula on my real right shoulder. You see it as the last one. Exhale up. That's why sometimes you'll see me do this. To kind of readjust the shoulder in the socket there. And back down. Two. Now we're going to take it for the low plank. So this is the great option for carpal tunnel. I'm going to show you another hand position after this first round. So I'm going to bring the legs out behind me. We have a 1 minute hold here, folks. So it's up to you. If it's too much, lower one knee down. That's okay. You can stop. You can rejoin. But I wouldn't really focus too much on, I got to hold my planks. That's kind of old science, folks, because we're finding that if people are holding their planks for minutes at a time, that what's happening is that there are wrist issues that are occurring. There are shoulder issues that are occurring. So it's not about that. This is about strength. It's not always about endurance. There's a lot of emphasis on endurance, especially in a healthy aging process. Strength is imperative for us, and especially for females. I'm sorry if you see some of the sweat coming down, pardon me. and lower down. And back to it again for the Romanian deadlifts. Let's give you another angle. Feet a bit wider. Now you might hear some clanking around. We have a lot of wind here this evening, and I do have my hurricane shutters up. So you will, if you hear any banging around, it's the wind knocking into the hurricane shutters. My apologies. Exhale, but it is hurricane season. Keep checking, make sure not too low. Let's go for one more. Back to low plank. Now, let me show you this. I'm going to come up close. I'm going to interlock my fingers, and I'm going to turn in one pinky so that when I close the hands, they're going to be flush to the floor, flush to the mat, because it's another way that you can do the low plank and engage a lot of bicep this way. Now, what engages the bicep, and I'm going to come out behind me, would be just the flexion of the elbow, the bending of the elbow, and then you recruit the bicep muscle. So careful. This one, a lot of time, push away. It's like you want to root into the ground while pushing it away simultaneously. Again, if it's too much on your head, take a yoga block, level 3, the highest level, and place it underneath your forehead. And it'll help you hold your head up. Lots of energy going on here. Oh, so many muscles contracting. Now you understand why this is a compound movement. Sometimes I lose my timing here, so if I go a little bit beyond, don't hold it against me. And take it on down. And we have, I believe, yes, we are on our last block, folks. I just need to bear with me a second. I just need to dry off a little bit. Okay, so I'm taking a 25-pounder for my lateral lunge. We've already discussed the modifications. Step out, close it back in. Try to stay lateral. Try to stay to the side as much as you can instead of stepping back or stepping forward. Oh, man. I only recently leveled up to 25. It was at 20. I feel a difference. One more. Let's take it over to the other side. Always just pause a moment. Make sure that you are not dizzy at all. One side may like it more than the other. You just accommodate it by making it a little bit of a shorter stance. Close it in a bit if you need to. Going to go for 2 more. Now, we're going to do the straight arm pushback, also known as press back. Careful here with golfers and tennis elbow, please. Okay. This is the wide grip. Right here, you can't even imagine how much work this is, because this is where we tie in all the core. And that includes back erector muscles, gluteals, quadriceps, hip adductors, inner thighs, as well as pelvic floor muscles. So a lot of people think the core is just the abs. All those muscles are involved. This is why it's a compound movement. One more. And release back to the lateral lunge. And I did rehearse this before folks, so I really am feeling it, but it's great. It's not a complaint. Okay. So one thing I do want to let the viewers know, please, you can always contact me by way of the contact form on my website, boomerandbeyondwellness.com. There is a contact tab there. You can write me and ask some questions. Now, I have to make sure, and I will be very honest with you if something is outside of my scope of work. One more. We have an epidemic in this country of, I just want to see if I can see my feet for a second. I can't see my feet. Bear with me a moment. If we can lower that banner so I could see my feet, would that be okay? Thanks. I appreciate it. Sorry about that. I appreciate what you just did, though. Thank you. So it is, we have an epidemic in this country, literally, of osteoporosis. One more. Oh, man. And back to the straight arm pushback, also known as the press back. Let's do a narrow grip for you folks, okay? Let's do a narrow grip. I'm going to face you this time. Notice the hands are wider than the shoulders. So you can imagine if you do this, not a good idea. So much stress on that cervical spine of the neck. Pause. It's a small movement. It's not big. You don't require a lot of big movements sometimes to what I call bite right into the belly of the muscle. Let's go for one more. And release. Ooh la la. So, folks, let's just do a little bit of a cool down. This is when I would invite you to head on over to my YouTube channel to properly cool down. But let's take a few moments here. Bring down the heart rate. Allow that rate of breathlessness to return to somewhat normal. Now, I'm going to do something here. It's such a great movement for your spine and hips. It's a hula hoop, it's a belly dance, but it's fabulous. I give this a lot to my prenatal females, and they're kind of like, because of what goes on with the back and reverse direction. I just got a nice spine adjustment. Now, let me show you that back spine extension. Let's go and do this together, okay? So I am going to stand. Let me show you here first. So the feet are going to be a bit wider than the hips. I like to do that because it helps the low back open up a little bit more for some of us where it might be kind of tight. Hands on the sacrum, the flat triangular plate at the low back, but not for who? Not for carpal tunnel, because look at the hand position. That's wrist extension. So for carpal tunnel, you bring your hands below the butt, your wrists will now be straight, okay? So what I like to do is think I'm sliding the sacrum one side at a time down toward my heels. Does the sacrum slide? No. I'm bending the knees, encouraging my hips, pelvis, thighs forward. Now I'm going to hold here, roll the shoulders back, shoulder blades toward each other. For those of you TIA stroke, do not drop your head back. For the rest of us, you want to drop the head back, go for it. Now you can also straighten the knees. I'm going to drop back again. Inhale, lift the chin to neutral. Exhale, slowly come up. Let's take a few nice big shoulder rolls. And that's what we have for you tonight, folks, here at Plant Powered Metro New York. Thank you so much.
Just fantastic. Really, it was so I actually have an injured bone, so I did not do all the exercises with you, but I
Okay.
did some of them. And but so I watched a lot very carefully, and it reminded me actually of a quote from Bruce Lee, the martial art,
Yeah.
legendary martial artist, and he said, "The successful warrior." Let's see if I can get this right. The successful warrior is the average person with laser like focus.
Hmm.
And what I noticed so much in you is this laser like focus. And I'm wondering is if the compound movements is what, like, it seems like you have, because you're using your whole body,
Hmm.
need to focus, and that
Hmm.
also keeps these exercises from people getting bored, which is sometimes the biggest complaint you hear about exercise. Can you comment on that a
I
little?
think you're spot on it, and I think Bruce Lee was spot on it too. I think absolutely. I mean, for me personally, um, whenever I have to study for something, I do exercise first because it makes us acute. We have an acute awareness and the ability, like you said, it's a laser like focus. You can just harness in on what you're trying to deal with at the moment. A lot of my ideas come to me. I love to fitness walk outside. I wear a 12.5 pound weighted vest, and I typically, in about 62 minutes, I get about 8,300 steps in, which is good. It's not awesome, but it's good. But I do have that 12.5 pound weighted vest on me.
Mhm.
And when I'm out there doing it, especially if it's sunny out and the weather's beautiful, all these ideas, all this stuff, oh, I want to create this workout or create that workout, because that's where my mind goes, right? And it's just, it allows us to become more creative. The other thing, though, and I will share this with your audience, in my background was I was diagnosed with manic depression back in 1991 or 92, back when Patty Duke was diagnosed with it, right? And I was put on medications, psychotropic drugs, for the next 25 to 28 years. I did something that I'm telling your audience, don't ever do what I did. Don't ever do this. I withdrew. I actually weaned myself. I took 2.5 years and weaned off the drugs
Mhm.
because I knew instinctually that strength training was benefiting me. I was on these drugs to sleep. They never helped, okay? But it was not too long ago where Dr. Doug Lyle was talking about the benefits of strength training for those who are on psychotropic type drugs
Right.
and how they're seeing it's incredible. And I'm like, okay, baby, I'm like a 30-year study on that, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
So I haven't been on those drugs for about 7, 8 years, I'm proud to say. And just to understand that the whole thinking mechanism, the way we feel, all of it is all tied up right together. And if you get more in touch with your body, you can reclaim your power over these type of issues. I'm not saying to anybody, don't ever take them. I'm not suggesting that. Please don't misunderstand me, okay? But I'm just saying they were never intended for the purpose of decades of being on them.
Mhm.
So try this. You might like it. You know,
Yeah.
when I'm out there doing the fitness walking, I've got fun music on. I'm just like, yeah, man, you know what I mean?
That,
You get in your own zone that way. It's incredibly fun, all of it. And if you have the attitude, when I'm doing this at home here, working out on my own, I have all you folks on. I have all the webinars on, all of the different platforms. That's what inspires me and keeps me going.
that's so good to know. We're actually at time, and so for the audience, I'm going to just let you know we might run just a few minutes over because there are some questions, and we will address that. Obviously, if you need to go, then thank you for joining us tonight at Plant Powered. However, we will take the questions. So one of our listeners asks, how many times a week would you recommend that we do these sets?
Okay, this is a great question. So it depends upon the intention. in my case, I needed to affect a diagnosis of osteoporosis. And I was told, and they wrote it in red on my chart, of a 90-year-old. So I had a different intention than somebody else. If you're looking for basic strength training, right, and your intention isn't to affect a diagnosis, then it is recommended, and this is what all the plant-based medical doctors state, is when it comes to strength training, twice a week, always on non-consecutive days, 8 exercises, which is why I design it like that, and for a minimum of 20 minutes. If you're trying to affect a diagnosis, you have to find out first if doing more is okay for you. You might have to start with once or twice a week, but nothing less than twice a week from the perspective of maintaining your current strength and mass. You can actually get a little bit more muscularly strong, but as far as bone strength, if you have to affect it, you need to find out about doing more, but only when you're given the thumbs up to do it. I have Dr. Frank Sabatino as my doctor. And one of the reasons is because he knows about weightlifting. So I could talk with him. And he helped me in the design of my own program. And in fact, he gave me his permission. You can quote me on this stuff that you're talking about. So, I'm very confident in what I'm presenting to you and how it affected my journey.
This is terrific. And yes, Dr. Sabatino is well known in the plant-powered community. So it's lovely that, you, and so many of the plant-powered doctors also are so well versed in exercise as well. And in something important you bring up, which is the mental health positive impact of exercise, strength training and cardio exercise on mental awareness and
That's right. That's
alert,
right.
and then also mental health. Another question, if we have some soreness tomorrow, would you recommend doing the stretching exercises on your YouTube channel?
Absolutely. So here's the drill. If you're sore tomorrow, that's a sign you worked, right? Which is terrific. Make sure you stay hydrated, and definitely feel free to stretch. You can also work out again, but not the same workout. And I find that when I work out with the soreness, I'm actually able to then bypass that soreness much more quickly. Why? Because we're bringing blood, we're bringing water, we're bringing nutrients, and we're bringing oxygen to the tissue. And it helps with you with the recovery process. The other part of this that's extremely important is to make sure you are eating plant-based. Because I'm going to tell you, for me, it's all about plant exclusive. Okay. Some people aren't there yet, and I get it. But the food, the movement, they are literally support each other, because the recovery process, when you eat this way, I will strength train 5 days in a row a lot of times. All right. But it's because I'm working in proper alignment. I'm not repeating the same exercises 2 days in a row. And I eat all plant food. That is it. And your nutrients from the plant food help you recover. You prevent inflammation when you eat this way and strength train with alignment and knowing what your intention is to your strength training.
Gorgeous. Yep. Couldn't agree with you more. Of course.
Thank you.
We're like-minded in this, as I hope most of the audience is as well. So only because of time are we needing to sort of wrap up, but it's been such a pleasure. I feel like I could talk to you forever about this.
Thank you.
Questions about the intrinsic muscle systems, the compound muscles, the extrinsic, but you got it all in. A couple of comments really for you that came through, because I know you couldn't see the chat. Somebody early on was saying, thank you so much for all the precautions at the beginning. So thank you for that. And then another listener said, thanks for a very challenging and helpful set of exercises. Almost 70 with hip, knee, foot problems. And this is part of my day for the rest of my life for a quality life.
So, beautiful. Thank you for sharing this with me, and good luck on your journey. Keep it up, and don't let anybody tell you you can't do it.
Exactly. Mona Arendt. I think that's her last
Oh,
name.
my girl. Mwah.
Hello to Angela, and then a couple of people. Oh, this has been a wonderful time. Thank you. So, and then Grace, could you just add the lower third for the YouTube channel? Oh no, for Angela's website. I think there's a listener who says she still needs, yes, your website. And so we just put that on screen. So
Thank
we'll
you.
leave that on screen. So a huge thank you from
Thank you so much.
Network
May
to
I extend
teach
one
us.
offer to your people,
Yes,
to
yes, of
the
course.
members and the viewers? Is
Please.
if you would like to subscribe to my free monthly newsletter, you go to that same website, and instead of my name there, you would put in the word subscribe. And you'll get links to more workouts, fitness tips and tricks, articles, all of it. But you'll also receive a link to a special workout that I designed specifically for those of you who are subscribing to the newsletter as a little thank you gift. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Super generous. So thank you. Thank you. I've actually been to your website. It's terrific.
Thank you so
I was
much.
preparing for tonight.
Aw.
So quick, please stay with us a few more minutes to the viewers. Just a quick announcements from Plant Powered Metro New York. First, thank you, Angela. Thank you, viewers, for joining us. If you want to see this, a replay of this, this video will be up on the Plant Powered Metro New York.org YouTube channel as well. So you can revisit this and read. There's a lot of information here. So feel free to come to our website as well to watch the replay. And we also have a lot of resources, cooking demos and lectures and events that we have done that are all on our YouTube channel. So please join us for that. And then some important events coming up. Registration is now open through January 6th for our winter 2025 virtual jumpstart. Plant Powered Metro's 21 day, it could be 21 years, 21-day Jumpstart is a virtual program that's designed to guide you into a health-supporting plant-based lifestyle. You'll learn practical skills, dive into the science of evidence-based eating, and discover how to prepare delicious, healthy meals. For anyone who's still on the fence, or even if you've got experience doing this, I highly recommend the Jumpstart. It's just an incredible, detailed, and science-based immersion into this world with very, very, very practical tips and mentorship and guides that will really take you through the program. So please join us. You can find information on our website. Grace, maybe you could put the website up if you can. And we are doing a special Q&A for the Jumpstart, which is on Thursday, January 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern. So if you have questions specifically about the Jumpstart, please join us. And then a special thank you to Jim Spellos and Grace Simoneau, who've been behind the scenes. Grace is really doing all the tech tonight, which is just wonderful. And if you found the program valuable, please consider, particularly now at the end of the year, please be generous and donate to Plant Powered Metro New York. We are a not-for-profit organization. We rely heavily on viewers' donations. We don't just do these programs. We have active live programs in all of our communities around the Metro New York area. We educate, we bring awareness to these communities, we empower people to go whole food plant-based, and we are active in the underserved communities as well. So this is just one part of what we do, and your generosity and your donations make a difference. We have a $60,000 match between now and the end of the year. So anything you donate now will be doubled. A very generous angel donor who has come in between now and the end of the year to match funds. So please consider a donation. And again, thank you all very, very, very much. Look forward to seeing you next time. Have a good night, everyone.